Welcome everyone to Million Dollar Seller, potentially rebranding the title a little bit. Not sure. Doesn't really matter. It's going to be the same shit. So who cares? I'm so excited for today's podcast. I have a good friend here. I met her a few years ago just through the Instagrams. I believe she posted something bomb about relationships and it just spoke to my soul. And I'm like, who is this girl? So she's been on my podcast before. We talked about relationships. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about business and money and sales and just living our best lives. We're going to give you some great knowledge. So make sure you listen to all of it. And also hit that follow button, whether you're watching it on YouTube, you're listening to it, whatever, wherever you're listening, hit follow. And I want to welcome my girl, Kelsey Grant. Welcome, Kelsey.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to rock and roll and get spicy with you.
Amazing. Something about Kelsey, we have a lot of things in common. One thing is we're here to make a difference. We're here to build empires and we're fucking consistent. Something about Kelsey, she is always, I pull up my feed, she's always on the feed, which is amazing because in business, in life, I was coaching some clients yesterday. I was like, if you're consistent, it'll all happen. You just have to show up. You learn as you go, and you are incredibly consistent.
Thank you. That is a muscle I have built over time, and it is something that's locked in now. I don't know that if you'd met me 25 years ago, you would have said the same thing.
Yeah, totally. I just worked with some clients yesterday. We had a group sales call on this. And I believe a lot of it is also, and I would love your feedback on this, is I believe a lot of it is just practicing detachment. You have to really detach from like what other people think, what you think even. Like some days I don't want to post about sales or like at all. So it's like you have to detach from how you feel to the reality of what you're trying to do. And that's locking in on the mission, right?
And not being so attached to like the outcome of the metrics that you see on social media, because that I think stops a lot of people, to be honest. Like they put up a post and it's crickets. And then they're like, see, no one loves me. No one believes in me. I better stop. And like, I have an account of almost 100,000 and sometimes my posts get like 10 likes.
Same.
It's the Wild West. Instagram changes all the time. And to me, my philosophy has always been, if it makes a difference for one person, it's worth having posted.
Exactly. I was actually telling a client that yesterday. It's like, especially she's building her business from scratch. And I'm like, helps one person every day. That's it. And, I have a good following too, not quite as what Kelsey has, but we all go through it. We all resonate. And I mean, I could post my body every day and get lots of likes, or I could post something about my business and my mission and get 500 views, which is not very many, maybe 10 to 15 likes. But if 10 to 15 people see it and it resonates and they want to work with me and change their lives and their business, like I'm all for it. The vanity metrics just aren't it. And you have to really know that. We're here to be real with you.
Well, and I notice with my following too, like I'll have people reach out and they'll say, I've been following you for years and you've completely transformed my life. And I've never met this person ever. They've never come through the door and worked with me. But what I put out for free has shifted their consciousness, has shifted their perspective enough that it has caused massive ripples of transformation in their life. And I think that's an important thing to remember as a creator, especially one who's fueled by a bigger mission, is that you never know who you're actually serving. And yes, there are always going to be the people who come through the gates and pay for your work and you get to serve them on a more deep and intimate level. But then there are other people who are just kind of going to dabble in your field and they're going to take pieces that they need and they're going to create massive transformation in their own respective lives. And that is important to honor and acknowledge too. And I think if you keep that in the background of your mind, it's so much easier to stay the course and be consistent.
That's very well said. And I think of people that have changed my life, some significantly, some that have shown up a lot, some significantly that I saw one thing.
Right. Yeah,
one thing that they did that made me just like stuck in my brain. And it's that one little shift.
It's like how you met me. You saw the thing and it stuck in your brain. And now we're just going to live our lives in holy matrimony together.
Here we are making out on a podcast. Oh my gosh. So
great.
That's really good advice. I remember too, when I got a coach last year for business, she really helped me put in perspective of the posting stuff, because I really shifted what I was talking about. And when you're getting hit with constant dopamine, off of what we'll call surface level stuff, right? Like looking good. And then you shift to, oh, I want people to hear me. I want the value. And it can get very frustrating if someone is not here to kind of talk you through. So me and Kelsey are talking you through it now. Yeah. But I remember she said, I posted about my big launch for my program when I first released it. And she's like, your dream customers, they're watching. I promise you they're watching. They're there. They're watching. They're not commenting. They're not liking it, but they are watching. And that got me through my launch. And then I sold 0 in this launch. And then I'm like, I did all this work and I have a great mission. I have a great product. I'm going to relaunch it. I relaunched it and I got my first one. Yes. And I got my second one. And then I got 4 in 1 week, right?
Yeah,
so
you
it's
did.
like, yeah. And I just did a podcast on this too, because I think people need to understand that. And I had, Kelsey's friend and business partner, Christina, on my podcast before. Yeah. In my head, we're a throuple. They just don't know it. Yeah. But we've talked about
she'll be fine with it.
She'll be fine. She's on board. And I remember her saying too, people are portraying that they just like, sneeze and make $100,000 a month. Like that's not true. Like me and Kelsey are in the weeds every day, showing up every day. And it's work. It's a lot of work. It's not just, it's a lot of work. Right.
It is. And people don't realize that. Like I'm a creative and an entrepreneur, and it's the same in both fields. Like you don't become an exceptional artist without putting pen to paper or, a paintbrush to canvas or fingers to the fretboard. Like you have to show up for your craft every single day in order to become masterful in it. And the same is true in entrepreneurship, but somehow like that message gets lost in translation, especially with all of these, performative people on the internet they tell you that. I just sneezed and made $100,000 today. Yeah. But what you don't see is the 10 years leading up to that point.
Totally.
It takes 10,000 hours to become masterful in any given area. Yeah. So if you apply that to business, like you are going to have to show up again and again and again. And there are going to be times where you show up and it goes boom and things are amazing and they flow and you're like, this is fucking awesome. And then there are times where you launch and it's crickets.
Exactly.
And both are really valuable because they are the grist for the mill. They are refining you to be able to hold the magnitude of your vision, the magnitude of your mission. If you collapse the second someone doesn't buy from you, I'm sorry to say, but you can't hack it holding a mission because that mission is, you're not cut out for it. You have to be able to hold complexity. You have to be able to hold nuance. You have to be able to hold paradox. You have to be able to hold discomfort. And if you don't know how to do that because you haven't been refined through the process, you're literally going to cut and run the second anything gets hard or it doesn't go your way, because essentially it's relating from an adolescent nervous system of like, I should just want it and I get it and I shouldn't have to work hard for it. And unfortunately, that is just not how business that sustains itself over time works, or a mission that is here to change the trajectory of the collective works. So It just depends what team you're batting for over here.
Well, and also we don't live in an Amazon Prime world. You don't just add to cart and it shows up the next day.
Right.
And the things you don't see Kelsey and I do, yes, we work with people. Yes, we have programs. Yes, we coach, we podcast, we post content. We have to worry about our books, our finances, our team, our marketing, our email, like all while we're coaching people, while we're selling people, while oh my God, while we're building partnerships, like it is a lot behind the scenes. I want to dive into more about your expertise, because I feel like something that me and her have in common is we're just kind of like jack of all trades with a lot of great specialties. But I want you to tell us a little bit about more on what you're an expert in, and also what kind of like lights you up in terms of like helping people and serving your community.
Well, I'm definitely an expert in love and relationships and creativity. So people come to me when they want to upgrade their relationships and have really thriving connections across the board in the entirety of their lives, like their relationships with their kids, with their partners, with their friends, with their business partnerships or work colleagues, or just random strangers that they encounter in the world. They just want to be more relational. And I also work very deeply in the emotional realm. So I think a lot of people are emotionally constipated and they don't know how to be fluent in feeling. So I work a lot in that realm to clear out all of that energetic and emotional debris that's been backlogged in the system, so that you can actually show up for your mission, whatever that mission is. Maybe it's having a family, maybe it's building a business, maybe it's being an artist, whatever it is, you need capacity to be able to create that into form. And if you have all of this residual like energy that's stuck in your system, or you're afraid of feeling, you're not going to be able to show up in the way that you need to show up for your mission, for your vision, for whatever that dream life is for you. And given that I've spent a lifetime in the creative realm, like it is also an area where I love mentoring people. And it's something that really lights me up, like seeing, and that's usually how it works. Like people come to me for relational stuff and we work on that. We clear it up. We get them like really fluent in feeling. And all of a sudden the creative inside of them activates and they start following their passion, whether that is writing, whether that is music, whether that's cooking, whether that's gardening, whether it's movement, whatever it is, it activates in them. And then we get to go in this new direction of mentorship, of fostering the artist within themselves. So those are the areas that I'm so obsessed with and I can't get enough of.
Well, that's a beautiful way of putting it. And the word that you keep saying really sticks with me, because this is what I'm all about too, is vision. You keep saying vision, 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 vision. And being driven by your vision, I feel like, is the best calling in your life. And also, Kelsey and myself are really proving that you can also be multidimensional, because I know Kelsey loves to sing and she writes songs.
I do.
And so tapping into that creative, talk a little bit more about that. Like, because I love what I do, but I feel like when there's this element of creation and being able to create something new, magical, and kind of go against the grain, right? We see these social media, this stuff like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do one niche, one audience, one platform, one service. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds boring. So
not for a manifesting generator.
No, yeah, not for her. So what's your take on that? I feel like creation and being creative and tapping into that creativity is such an important part of the process.
It definitely is. And I think we live in a social construct that is very hyper masculine. And the hyper masculine is this singular focus, like one focus, one thing. Whereas the feminine energetic is multidimensional, it's multi-layered, and you can move and create inside of it. And without both, you're kind of dead in the water. Like you're going to burn out if you're just on that hyper masculine track, but then you also float off into space if you're in that hyper feminine track. And so my mission, my vision is to create union within myself, but also union in how I do things in the world. So I merge that more linear, logical, grounded energy with my creative faculties, and that's how I get shit done. And so for me to feel vital and alive in doing admin work, which I think we both can agree is not so fun. I don't love it. It does not make my pussy tingle.
Oh my God.
But
same.
But if I have these other outlets like songwriting and poetry and writing and movement and dance that I can literally let myself kind of go with and explore and dive into, that juices me up. And all of a sudden I have all systems firing and I can go and plug in for those 6 hours that I need to do all that admin stuff and just crush it. And so having these places where I can go express myself, and for me, songwriting is a huge access point for self-expression, because I can say things that I need to say in a different way than if I was saying it on a stage talking about my mission or talking about relationships. And same with poetry. Poetry has become this beautiful outlet for me. I'm writing my first poetry book that's coming out in May. And I love it because like this Scorpio part of me can literally code in secret messages into the poetry. I can say the thing about my abusive relationship 10 years ago and no one knows who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about, but they get the energetic transmission.
Totally.
So I think it's really important to have these creative outlets, whatever they are. And I don't buy this idea that only certain people are creatives or artists. Like I think everyone has that creative faculty inside of them. It's just whether or not you have approval for it and you allow yourself to dive into it and foster it. If it's been kind of conditioned out of you, you might relate to yourself as though you don't have that. But if I had you for a day and I walked around with you for a day, I would find exactly where that creative spark is. And then I would start to blow, life force energy into that so that you can catch it within yourself and start fostering that in your day to day, which, even if you have a 9 to 5, you need that for your own spark, your own aliveness, your own soul to come to life. So you're not just going through the motions,
I totally agree. I think something that's when you're saying this, something that really resonates with me is that, I see these posts and these quotes and stuff, and I totally agree. Humans are wired for creation.
100%. You might be passionate about Legos and like building Lego worlds, or you might be passionate about cooking and the alchemy of that, or gardening and getting your hands in the dirt. But all of these things require creative energy in order to have them exist in the world. Like
Exactly.
Everything is a creation.
And one thing I want to point out too is creation does not have to be on social media. So I think, I did, once again, I did my group call sales coaching last night. It was a great call. And I reminded them yes, post your content, but you can get sales and clients in the real world. We don't have to be behind computers and phones all day. I've gotten a lot of amazing business partnerships and clients from getting my ass out there. So
saying hello to people in a coffee shop.
Hi. Exactly. Right. So I think when we think of creator or creation right now, it really it kind of goes heavy towards social media, in my opinion.
Internet, being on the internet.
Yeah. I'm a creator. I'm a whatever you want to call it, but you can create wherever, whenever, however you want.
Yeah, you could be a mural artist and creating murals on buildings and never set foot on the internet.
Exactly. There's a lot of that shit in Austin.
I
We're
bet.
here. We love it. We're going to bring Kelsey out to Austin sometime.
Yes, I can't wait.
We're going to bunk up. So I want to talk a little bit about, so they have she has her business partner, Christine, and they have this amazing community, great social media every time. Sometimes it just hits me at the right spot. I'm like, it's after a work day and I'm just on my phone and I see it and I giggle and I'm like, obviously I have to drop a comment because I love to support my fellow creators.
Yes.
And so they have this joint business venture together recently called Club Unhinged, but they're going through a rebrand, which is Club Hot AF or As Fuck.
As Fuck.
Okay, As Fuck, the full word. Club
the full word.
Hot as Fuck. I resonate with that. I love to be hot. Let's be hot.
Same.
Everyone deserves to be hot.
Exactly.
It's
and
an
when
energy.
and when you're on mission, you're hot as fuck. Let's be so for real.
You're so fucking hot as fuck. Anyways, I want to hear more about this. So tell me so I know a lot about this community. I've kept up with their posts. I know it's a lot about energy, embodiment. You talk about all the things, manifesting. It's just this, it's for me, the best word I can describe is just this energy that you help people kind of tap into. So tell me a little bit about Club Hot as Fuck.
Yeah, we've been in business together for 2 years now, which is so extraordinary. We've done over 100 podcast episodes together.
Consistent.
See,
consistency.
There we are. And it started as we were just nerding out at our friend's 1-year-old's birthday party. We came up with this concept of Club Unhinged. We were like, let's just fucking do it. And so we sold an offer that didn't exist. We didn't even know what it was. And we told everyone on the webinar that we're doing this thing. We have no idea what it's going to become. We have no idea what it's going to be. But if you want to do a trust fall with us, we would love to have you. And because I've been in business since 2009, I have quite a bit of credibility built with my audience. So they know that if I'm going to do something, even if they don't know what it is, they know it's going to be great. There's a certain standard and level that it's going to be. And
that's why consistency pays off.
Right. Yeah. And being integral with yourself and your values matters. And so we did this, trust fall, and we had over 30 women register.
Amazing.
It's fucking wild. And so our whole thing was we are going to keep following the energy and it's going to show us what it wants to become. And then the first true iteration dropped in about 6 months later, and that was like the true Club Unhinged, where we were unhinging from paradigms and beliefs and systems that were untrue, so you could connect to the truth of who you are and, you know, be hot, rich, and thriving. So like this through line was always there. And then we've been doing that for, you know, the last year and a half. And both her and I, when the new year hit, we were like, you know, when you're in clothes that kind of feel too tight or like you've outgrown them and you're like, this is not the thing. And like everybody's talking about unhinge this and unhinge that. And we saw, well, Christine saw a article in the local government newspaper, and they were talking about being unhinged. And we were like, nope, that's it.
This is the final straw. It became too mainstream.
It did. It did. And everyone's talking about unhinged, which doesn't make it unhinged anymore. And also it had like this negative connotation as well. Like the collective was not relating to unhinged in this like free expression. They were talking about it in a much more negative context. So then we were up against that as well. And we're like, you know what? That doesn't feel, it feels heavy. So let's just do a whole fucking rebrand and let's look at what has actually happened for the women who have been in our vortex. What has been the journey? What has been the outcome? And the thing that happens in the club with everyone is they reverse age. Like as we start to like really shed what is no longer true and step in the direction of our truest mission and what we're actually here to do, there is this vitality that takes over. Like there's this turn on that happens. And each of the women ended up, like through our methodology and our process, ended up generating and creating and starting to live lives that they're actually obsessed with. And that's really the whole mission that we're on, is like, can you not only like dream up a life that you're obsessed with, but can you actually get on the court and live it? And like, when we are living lives that we're obsessed with, we are actually doing things that are contributing to the world. We're contributing to, you know, what I like to call the new paradigm of relating and the new paradigm of life, where it is more creative, it is more collaborative, it is more connected. And when a woman is really in her body and she's connected to her heart and she finally feels that permission to self-express and say all the shit that she's been holding back for her entire life, all of a sudden she looks 20 years younger. And all of a sudden she's getting chased down in airports by men who are like, I don't know what it is about your vibe, but you're a fucking vibe. Like, I need to know you. Or like people are like, how can I pay you? How can I work with you? I don't even know what you're selling, but I need it. And like that's been the trajectory of the women in the club who've done the work as it's designed. And it's
sounds like a women and gay men's club. You keep saying women, so I might just invite myself into this because it's selling me. I'm like, oh my God, I want boys to chase me down the airport.
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a fucking vibe, and you only get there when you reclaim your authenticity, when you reclaim your self-expression, when you reclaim your embodiment. You can't be walking around like with a bobblehead and like living from the neck up and only in your head. You have to literally descend into your genitals and you have to be anchored there. And then you have to be able to feel your body and respond to life instead of react to it. And when you start living in that trajectory, well, life gets really fucking fun. Like you get to have a great time and you're hot as fuck. You just move through the world different. And I think the coolest part, especially with Christine and I, because we are so different and our missions and our visions are quite different. And like, I'm over here in the creative vortex and I'm like, I want, you know, a creative chateau where artists come and do an artist residency and like they get to foster their creative energy alive. And then Christine's like, I need to be on stages, on jets, you know, drinking champagne and like having these conversations on stages that move the trajectory of humanity forward. And so like we have very different expressions of our authenticity, and yet they both fit under the same umbrella of serving humanity and showing people what's possible when you actually connect to the true vision of what a life that you're obsessed with looks like. It's going to look different for you. It's going to look different for me. It's going to look different for everyone listening. And the point is, like, can you own what's actually true for you and not what society tells you you should be or what your parents thought the vision of your life should be, but what do you actually truly desire, and let yourself really fucking have it. And
I think that's part of it. Let yourself have it. And something earlier you said too, you're talking a lot about, masculine versus feminine. That feminine energy is a lot about receiving, like taking it in and letting things happen.
Yeah.
And I think giving yourself permission, like, you don't have to have, when we think about like what we want and what we manifest, it's almost like people like pick an area. It's like, why not have all the areas?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. You can be hot. You can be rich. You can be thriving. You can have it all.
Have a partner. You can have all the things.
Yeah. You can have 10 lovers. You could have, a little plot of land that you have goats on, like whatever it is that you want and desire, you actually get to have, but it requires you to be a creator to create it into form.
Exactly. I was going to say, because you're a creator. We're all creators.
Yes. It's not this passive pursuit where you just like think it and then sit back and like, well, I hope the universe just brings it to me. No, bitch, you got to go fucking work.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people misunderstand. Just like, don't get me started on this nervous system stuff. Like I'm here for it, but I'm also like, some of these things, all of these things require action. It requires movement. It's not just like, it just doesn't come to you. You do the work, but you also have to move.
Yes. This is one of the things, Sam, that pisses me off about the internet is when the collective gets a hold of a concept and then they like pimp it and everyone's talking about it, but no one really understands what they're actually talking about.
So clearly we're on the same page about the nervous system. It's like she's having her moment.
Yes.
And now she's being whored out by everyone, right? Yeah. So I want to hear give me a couple minute little rundown on this nervous system. I want you to set us all straight because I'm confused just like the rest. But I'm thinking too about, so for me, being able to hold, success, hold wealth, stuff like that. So I think about when I got into like sales or I started to make a lot more money, I wasn't doing any of this stuff.
Right.
I was shifting my identity.
Right.
And then the rest follows, right? That's my perception of what you need to do is you need to shift how you're showing up and let the results come. The results will come afterwards, not before. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, and then I start thinking about these really, ultra successful people. And I can tell you right now, you're not seeing Elon Musk tapping on his face.
I need to go regulate myself.
Exactly. Like that's where it's like, I think it's a slippery slope, and sometimes it's okay to be dysregulated. Like that's part of life.
You need to be dysregulated. You need to be,
right? So give me your little rundown.
So I mean, we do talk about the nervous system in the club and we work with it, but the thing is exactly what you said. There has to be a place where you take action. And so much of the nervous system rhetoric out there is this idea of you have to be constantly regulated. And then people collapse this idea of regulation equals calm. And that's not what regulation is. Regulation is your ability to respond to life no matter what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
And so if you do shut down or you do run away or you do freeze, then you have, an access and literal action that will help you move from that place of being frozen or running away or, hiding to come back into a spot where you can respond to life, where you can take action. Because if you do not take action and you're constantly like, oh, I just need to like journal this, or I just need to go meditate, or I just need to go do this embodiment session and like indulge my emotions. Like there's a lot of like drunk emotional energy in the collective right now because no one's actually processing and integrating. They're literally just recycling the energy over and over because it has become popular. It has become popular to talk about the nervous system and like be in this conversation, which means human beings are driven by a few things. One of them is belonging. So if you've always felt like you were on the outside and all of a sudden the nervous system comes in and they're like, oh, I can attach to that and gain significance by talking about you need to regulate, these are all the tools and this is how I do it and then you have successfully gained that belonging. But it's that false representation of belonging because like the internet has shown us time and time again, there will be a new hot babe on the scene, in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
You know, this was codependency was 2020, and like leading like 2019, 2020 was codependency. And then we had trauma come in 2020, and that kind of held the grip on the collective for a while. Now it's the nervous system. So there's going to be something that comes down the pipeline next. And when it does, you've built an entire identity on this, and now your business doesn't go boom anymore, and your whole identity is tied up in it. And all of a sudden it all falls to pieces, versus when we work with the identity level and we start to relate to ourselves as someone who is capable and competent. And to me, the only way to build that in is through action, showing myself that I am competent, that I am capable. And I do that by giving my word and following through. And so I'm very intentional about what I give my word to, so that I know I can keep it. Because every time I keep my word, every time I follow through, I put, you know, a huge deposit in that identity of someone who is successful, someone who can hold success, who can, you know, really be with life and whatever it throws my way. And I need that identity in order to do the work that I do, but also create the life that I want to be living. So, you know, I get so annoyed, and like the amount of time I spend eye rolling and like literally just like shutting off my phone and be like, fuck off. Like, this is not the vibe.
This is not what it is.
And it keeps people stuck, because it keeps them in this space of spinning where they're indulging the story of their trauma or the story of their pain and recycling it again and again and again to get that hit, so that they're, oh, I'm dysregulated, now I need to regulate. And it keeps them in this bind of never actually doing anything with their life, because you're constantly processing, or you're constantly having to regulate instead of, it's important to be dysregulated, because that means that you're hitting an edge. And there's a difference between an edge that's going to grow you and the dysregulation that happens if you're in an abusive relationship. Like, you have to be smart enough to know the difference. And when we're talking about growth, like, and you give people this idea that growth should be smooth and it should always feel good. And I'm like, have you ever been to the fucking gym?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever done a set of heavy squats? I'm sorry, but that is not comfortable.
Girl, when you said that, I thought you were attacking me. I'm like, hello, of course I've been to the gym.
I know. But like, that's it. It's the same correlation. Yeah. Like, if you want to grow in your life, and people don't think twice about the discomfort in the gym, they accept it. They're like, yeah, that's the cost of entry. If I want to be fit, if I want to be strong, I have to constantly like push my limit and like stack the weight and progressively overload, and I build my muscle. I challenge myself there. But then when it comes to life, we're like, I don't want to be challenged. I don't want to have to feel anything uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable, it must mean it's not aligned. No, it just means you're hitting a growth edge, and you have to literally become a new version of yourself to up level.
Yeah.
And it does, like, there are these paradoxes that exist of like, sometimes the resistance that you're feeling is an indication that you're going in the wrong direction. And sometimes the resistance that you're feeling is an indication you're going in the right direction. So the only way to know that is by being so deeply in your body and essentially like going through it. You're only going to learn what's what by experiencing, following the thread of the resistance that is telling you this is a stop versus the resistance that is a go. And you have to play them both out to know the slight difference of how they feel in your system, because it all comes back to feeling. It all comes back to this inner knowing of they are slightly different. But if you're up in your head, it's very hard to discern the difference.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts here. I don't even know where to start. I think one of the best things that I took away from this whole thing, thank you for sharing all of that, I think it was golden, is being really good at doing stuff and then stacking up your own evidence.
Yes.
You got to stack up the results. So like, if you go to the gym and it's hard, but you get through it, that's a stack.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think of it, I tie a lot of this to business. I tie a lot of this to sales. Like, I had a sales call once again last night, and I was doing stuff, and they're like, how do you do it so good? I'm like, I've been doing it for 12 years.
Practice. Yeah.
My first calls weren't good.
No.
And I told him a story. I was like, one time I had my first sales call. I did so bad. The owner of the company made me call them back and redo it.
Oh no.
Right. I'm like, no, but I had to do it. You don't see that. That was 12 years ago. Right. Like, so the discomfort is pure magic, but you got to not be a little bitch.
Exactly.
Like me and Kelsey aren't just sitting here tuning our body, receiving abundance. We're doing shit. I've had some things in my business. This year. Business does not go perfect ever.
No.
I had a couple clients, just like one client, just totally halfway through the program, it was time to like pay the rest of his bill. He just ghosted me, left. I've never heard from him. He was a referral.
Yeah.
Odd. But guess what I got after that? I could have totally derailed me. I'm like, what's going on? You know what happened? I got 5 more clients. 5 more.
Yep. But and like those type of clients, I think are really great too, because after we kind of get through it and then we look back and we can deconstruct, like, well, what was going on with that person? Like, are there certain energy signatures or certain patterns of behavior that they were embodying that will have them kind of jump ship or like ghost or go into hiding? And you learn that over time, and then you build and stack that into how you sell and who you sell to.
Exactly. Let me tell you that. So I'll build off that a little bit. So last year, a lot of my messaging, and it's like you look back, you're like, and I did well. I think so I've always made 6 figures since 2016 because that's like my minimum.
Yep.
Obviously, we're elevating that to 7 figures because we're a badass bitch, and that's what we're going to do. But I've always made 6 figures. And the reason I'm sharing that is because when you start to set your own bar minimum, like I don't know what it's like to not. So some of the years I'm like, how did I even do that? I don't know. Don't ask questions. It just happened. So
it just happens.
When I look back at some of my messaging last year, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know where the opportunity is. And a lot of mine was, if you're struggling, and I'm like, shit, I don't want people that are struggling.
No.
I want people that are ready to elevate, that are doing well, but want to do exceptional. So that for me was my learning opportunity as an entrepreneur, as a 7-figure CEO, is like, I want people that can afford my services, but they want to go up to the next level and they'll do whatever the fuck it takes.
Yes.
So it's like when I say, hey, if you're struggling, I'm going to get people that are struggling.
Yeah.
But it's like, I learned that as I've gone through this process, and it's made everything better. So it's like me and my team are like, who's my target people? Well, they need to make a certain amount of money first.
Yes.
Right? They have to have a certain income to afford the services. And it's funny. I remember talking with Christine about this. She goes, I wanted to coach one time and they were so inexpensive. I didn't go with them because I'm like, what's wrong with them?
Yeah, you must not be good.
That we correlate price with value. So I don't want to digress too much, but I love how you interpreted and said the stuff about the nervous system, and the misfortune with today is it's gotten lost in translation. I think also something I've discovered in this creator coach community, and I'm not saying this with anything other than my experience and also facts. I think it's facts. Is I think some of these people should not be doing this, because the people that are qualified, a lot of them, the people that are qualified, me, Kelsey, like I stick to sales, entrepreneurship, stuff I know, stuff I'm good at, stuff I've done for years and years and years. Kelsey sticks to what she's good at, and she knows, like, some of these people should just not be doing this because it's making it challenging for all of us. When you're promising results, you just can't deliver. You're diluting the pool.
Yes. I've noticed this, like I did my nervous system training in 2019 before it was trendy. And what I realized when I did that, I was like, oh, that's actually been a part of my work from the beginning. I just didn't know that that's what that was. And then you see all these people who are trend hopping and they're like, ooh, I can make a quick buck, or I can make a quick million, or whatever it is. They're not in it for service. They're in it for themselves. And they do a lot of damage, and it does make things a bit harder. And I've been sitting with this lately. I'm like, even though that is true, it also requires us as creators to level up as well. So like in order to kind of navigate the terrain, we have to become more masterful, which I never think is a problem. I can get victimized by it occasionally and be like, oh, these fucking idiots. Like, and the women that come into my program who are like, yeah, I've been burned. And I'm like, oh, that makes me so mad.
It makes me mad too.
But I also have an opportunity with them to repattern that. And it's not from a savior place, but from a place of like, well, this is what it feels like to be with someone who's actually in their body. And I know that even though there's a lot of noise out in the internet, nothing is louder than a true transmission of someone who's embodied and someone who's connected to the truth of what they should be teaching. Like that is always going to cut through the noise no matter what. And so as long as you are teaching or selling or coaching on something that is actually true for you. And you're not doing it because you're like, oh, this is a trendy topic, but it's the thing that you know in your fucking bones. Like, you'll be untouchable. Like, no one can kind of compare to that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not worried.
No. I'm never.
Top. My shit delivers. I deliver. I'm just saying it's annoying.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it's nothing other than annoying, and I don't want to ever talk someone out about going for it and going for their dreams. But what I'm getting at is just don't promise people stuff you don't really know anything about.
Yes.
Or give yourself the opportunity to learn it. Like, I touch a little bit on nervous system, but not a lot. I haven't had the trainings Kelsey had.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a nervous system coach.
Yeah.
I also get very curious, and I'm a life learner, and I learn a lot of things, and I pick up a lot of things, so I can talk to it, but I can't talk to it like Kelsey can. So if you want nervous system, go to her. Like, I'm happy to send someone her way, like, I think that is the moral of the story. I want to shift gears for a second. I'm going to ask you a few fun questions because they've been on my mind.
Yes,
they haven't been on my mind. I just want to have some fun. And then I want to talk a little bit about a couple more things, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so just quick questions. Brittany or Christina?
Brittany.
Win, of course. Winner.
Obviously. Like, there's only one right answer in that question.
𝐸NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
𝐸NSYNC.
Okay. I'm obsessed with her. She's picking all my answers. Okay, on a man, arms or chest?
Arms.
Okay. Tacos or pizza?
Probably pizza.
Okay. I think me and Kelsey are meant to be. She picked all the answers I would pick. So I love that. Thanks. I just want to have a little fun there. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions.
Sure.
When you're working with someone, because at this point, you've probably worked with hundreds, even thousands of people. You've been doing this for a long time. And I feel like I know the answer too. Because, I mean, when you work with people like to the capacity I do and she does, you understand, you learn a lot about psychology. You learn a lot about what holds people back. I feel like the same thing holds most people back in any industry, anything they're working on. But what do you find that is the most, when you're working with someone, what holds them back the most? Like, you're just like, ugh. Like, if you could generalize it.
I mean, if I were to like distill it down to like the core energetic is always shame. Like, that's the thing that is stopping all of them. It just manifests slightly differently, and the story around it will be different. But if I get in there and I'm doing my emotional kung fu with them, I'm like, oh, the thing that's stopping you here, you're afraid of failing. And the fear of failing, if we distill it down, like, you failed somewhere and you were shamed for it. And so this association gets built of like, if I never fail, I never have to feel shame again. And if I don't try, then I will never have to risk failing. And the thing about me is I love failing. Like, it is something that was instilled really early on for me of like, you need to try, you need to fail, you need to refine, try, fail, refine. And then through that process, you win. And so the thing that I really see is like this block around shame that people have, and it really prevents them from even putting themselves in the game to begin with, to even try. Yeah.
I just saw this. I actually sent this because I have a community chat for my program and my group and stuff. And I'm going to read it because it reminds me of this whole failing concept. Is if you knew you were just 100 rejections away from your dream, imagine how excited you feel every time someone said no. And I think that's so fucking powerful. That's interesting.
It applies to dating too, like dating in relationships. If you were 100 rejections away to your true soulmate and you got to live the rest of your life in happiness, bliss, and like being turned on and well fucked and well fed and well loved, like, hello, you'd be zooming through those rejections. You'd be like, yeah, get me there.
Away, baby. Get me there as fast as possible. I think too, when we talk about rejection, everyone is rejected at some point, some more than others. I actually look at a form of rejection as success. The more someone is rejected, and maybe this is my sales hat coming on, like, it's more like the more no's you get, the more yeses you get. But I think of all the times I've been rejected. On the flip side, I've also been led to the most incredible clients, relationships, friendships, dates, because you have to, it means I'm trying.
Yeah.
You're getting through people, through people. And I also believe in asking for what you want. And that comes with the sacrifice of rejection. That comes with being rejected. Like, I'm going to always ask I'm going to ask that person on that date, cross my fingers. And if it's not meant for me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Get out of my fucking orbit. That's fine. Same with the business deal. Same with the client. Like, man, I've gotten the best clients, as you have too. And I've also gotten people that really told me to eat shit. That's fine. Get
Not my
rejected.
people.
Not my people, but I can count all these people that love me and I love them, clients, friends, all the things. Like, it's worth it.
Yeah. Have you heard of the rejection experiment?
No, tell me.
So it's this concept of like you go out and you intentionally try to get rejected by asking the most outrageous and audacious things. And then they can be small things too. Like you could go into a coffee shop and ask the person in front of you to pay for your coffee. They're probably going to say no. Like you want to ask things that you know are probably going to be a no. And in the process of that, not only do you refine your ability to be with rejection, and so it's not so spicy on your nervous system, like it doesn't stop you, but it also opens this portal for possibility. Because
Totally.
sometimes when you make an outrageous ask, like let's say you like email a publishing house and you're like, hey, I have never submitted a manuscript. I haven't even written one, but do you want to publish my book? And sometimes just like the way that you approach it, the energy that you bring, people will be like, what? I need to have a conversation with this person. And it can open a door that was going to never open for you before you tried to go and get rejected from them.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, he did this experiment for a year after a breakup, and like he would just ask people the most outrageous shit. Like he'd walk up to a stranger and be like, can you give me $100? And most of the time people would say no, but sometimes people said yes.
Sometimes they do. We always focus on the ones that say no.
Right. But
What
there's
if they
always
said
going to be a
yes?
yes. Right.
I had a girl last night in my call. She goes, I didn't want to open up my LLC because I'm like, LLC. And then what if this doesn't work? I'm like, what if it does work? She's like,
requires just as much energy to think about if it's going to work. And like people, this is what people don't understand. And this I think also holds them back is they emotionally rehearse the thing that they don't want to happen versus taking that same strategy and applying it to the best case scenario.
Yeah. And then guess what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because it doesn't happen. Boom. I'm shocked. I'm so shocked.
Yeah. Not shocked because you literally act in a way to ensure that that thing happens. So if you take that same concept of your creative faculty, because that's all it is, it's just imagination being plugged in the wrong direction. So you plug your imagination in a new direction and you're like, I know the worst case scenario over here, but what's the best case scenario? And let me indulge that. Let me lean into that. Let me feel that. And then I start acting congruently with that.
Yeah.
And then people will have this thing underneath of like, yeah, but if it doesn't work out, I'll be disappointed. Then be disappointed. Learn how to feel disappointment. Learn how to digest it so that you can keep moving. And just like you said, every rejection essentially is a redirection, and it's carving you in a direction that is more on purpose, that is more congruent, more aligned.
It's realigning you.
Yeah. Because there's no real loss there.
No, that's the whole rejection's redirection, right? It's just realigning you. Yes. I was just watching this video on J.K. Rowling, even though she's a little crazy, but she was talking about, Harry Potter, and she goes, she said something to me that really stuck out, and I just want to share it. She goes, I knew this book, this story, I knew it was a masterpiece. I knew it. And she goes, I also knew the hardest part about the whole process is going to get it published. She goes, but once it's published, I just knew it. So she knew the hardest part of this entire process. And I thought that was so magical. It's such a wise thing to say. Is she knew what she had was so good. She knew the hard part was just getting it in the right hands. So do you know how many times she's rejected? Countless. Countless
probably
times.
Thousands.
A lot of times. She got rejected so much. But then that one publisher picked it up. And we know the story. I got the goosebumps all over the body.
Cash cow over here.
We know the story. We know the end of that story. So great. This is really good. So I want to end with a little bit on sales because I talk a lot about sales. I want to know what your take is on sales. How do you like to sell? What's your advice for someone selling? Because here's what I get. There's these blocks. I always tell people selling is serving. And if you have a product, you need to sell it. And you need to charge appropriately for it because you're providing a transformation. The higher the price, the higher the transformation. And I believe you can sell authentically and genuinely. And I know you have an inner saleswoman in you. I just know it. And I want to know your strategies. And you can just, give me an elevator speech on how you like to go about selling, because obviously she has a great service and she wants to help people, but she's also got to make some money. She's got to live. She's got a vision. She's got to be rich and hot as fuck too. Right? So tell me about your whole your unapologetic way of selling. Tell me about it.
I mean, I think this might be the Leo in me, but I just take the perspective of like what I'm doing is amazing and I'm obsessed with it. So why wouldn't you be obsessed with it? And I just invite people in. Like I think people kind of have this idea of what sales is. They probably watch like The Wolf of Wall Street once and they're like, that's selling. I'm like, well, that's a type of selling, but also like you can sell however you want. Like I can write a poem and sell at the end of the poem.
Yeah.
And I just do it in a much more creative way a lot of the time. Like I will, make a meme or like do something fun and funny and like get the energy moving. And then at the end of the caption, I'll be like, okay, now you're ready to make your move. Let's make a move.
Yeah.
Like no more fucking around. Like stop sitting on your hands and get shit done. Like I have that spicier side of me that it's kind of like a little cosmic spanking sometimes.
Well, I mean, I just want to say this too. When you have a coach like me or Kelsey, you also want that coach to call you out on your shit. We're not a yes person.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, oh, you're doing so great. It's like, no, get your shit together.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to tell you you're doing great when you're doing great.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to tell you the truth is what you hire me for. You hire me to tell you the truth. And I what I do in my sales is that I literally let them experience me. So I'm like, I don't want you to work with me if you don't feel resonance with me. So experience me through my podcast, through a community call, through my writing.
Exactly.
And like for me, I don't have a lot of pressure around like this needs to happen now. Like my system has really relaxed around that over the last decade. And when you sell from a place of being internally resourced and sell from a place of abundance, you're not attached to the outcome, meaning like if it doesn't translate, that one post doesn't translate into a sale, I'm not fucked up by it. And I just assume that when it's the right time for you to come into my work, it's the right time for you to come into my work and you will. And I really speak to people's agency and their sovereignty and having them trust themselves to make the investment.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who feels very strongly about financial integrity. So if someone, and I always put this on my applications and that's how I sell, I kind of take them through a process of they qualify themselves.
Yeah.
And so in the application, I actually put, is it in financial integrity for you to make this investment in yourself? And if it isn't, then I'm going to make a recommendation of either to work with someone else or to work on a self-study program until it's in financial integrity. Because the second someone is in scarcity, especially doing relational and emotional work, we're fucked. Like we're cooked. Yeah. Like it's not going to happen
because they're be effective.
It's not going to be effective because now they're worried about how are they going to make their payments versus how do I apply what I'm learning. And so there is, like you said earlier, like a certain level that someone has to be at, like personally, professionally, and financially in order to come into this work. And so I have to be responsible about that. Like I can't just take anyone and sell to anyone. I have to really speak to the people who have stabilized, and a lot of my clients are people who built a career on something that they didn't love, but it was stable and they have this nest egg now. And now they're like, I want to rediscover myself.
I figure out what's next.
Yeah. I want to have really hot banging sex. I want to, create magic and art. And like, I have all this money, but I don't really have any fulfillment. And so those are the people that I tend to work best with because they're not worried about finances, and so they can actually immerse in the process of what we're doing inside of the work. So you have to really know what it is that you're selling and who that is really going to serve, and set yourself up in a way that it works for you. Like for me, having an event or having a post that feeds them into an application. They do a written application, and then I get on a call, especially if I'm doing one-to-one work with them or in my high-level group programs, I do an interview with them first.
Yeah.
And in that interview process, I'm qualifying them to see if they are actually a fit for me. I'm not selling them. Like they're selling me. That's how I roll.
That's a pro. That's a pro.
Yeah.
She's a pro. I love that. I did. I've been doing a lot more live events, and I did one last week, and it was my third one, my first one. Okay. So obviously I'm going to be vulnerable here as I'm great at selling. I have great business. I have a great client base. I have great referrals. I have all the great things, but I did my first live event, and this was in December before the holidays, and it was great, but I was so scared to sell. I was so scared to sell on a like a 30-person call. Okay.
Yep.
And I've also struggled with some anxiety, panic attack issues this last year, which I just found out I have mold poisoning, which cost it all. So crazy. Yeah. But we're getting to the root, which I was good. So I was like, I honestly just wanted to get through this first call because I was afraid I was going to freak out. Because you're like, when you have a panic attack, your next panic is thinking that you're going to have another one. Right. That's really it. And none have happened since. So I got through my first one. Then I did a second one. It was better. So I did my third one a couple weeks ago, and I was confident to sell my program. So I did. And I think the value of having something like that is the exposure they get to your style. They get to ask you questions. They feel comfortable with you. They see you in action. I gave them a lot of value. I got a couple calls booked from that. I sold one the other day and have another one tomorrow. Of course, I'm going to sell them. But the reason I'm saying is like, it's that trust. It's that mutual. It's like, and I've been flat out with that too. It's like, if you're not ready, I've said this in my content, if you're not ready, don't book a call. Yeah. I don't want you. Like if you're not ready, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I want you if you're ready. And if you're ready, let's fucking go.
Because we're hitting the gas.
We're hitting the gas. And you know what? As you grow your business, something that I'm working on to actually wrote it down is I'm going to create my own standard agreement for any new client. I wrote this down last night, and it's how I'm requiring them to show up.
Exactly. I have that too.
Yeah, you have to you learn that as you go, right? Like, because last year I went really hard and launched it, and I'm like, but after you like figured out, you realize who you're for, you realize who you're not for, you realize that you've got to hold people to the standard because they're paying you for a transformation. So I think you learn these things as you go, and I think you just gave some great knowledge on how to sell, and selling is abundance, just like, and there's a lot of ways to do it. I always tell people there's a lot of ways to get
it can be fun.
It should be fun.
It should be fun. Like, I think that's the thing that Christine and I have really anchored in together, is that selling is so fun.
It should be fun.
When we get to that point, and it's not like this weird, like, okay, now we're going to go through this event and now it's time for the sales pitch. Like, we actually pitch throughout the event. Totally. So whenever we do an event, like there's a natural spot where it's true to like pitch someone. So then we just pitch them there, and we continue to invite them into the club or into what we're doing, and we just have a great time. And that's the vibe that people are catching. I do kind of watch that spot of like jacking up excitement energy and like getting people like out of their body and then selling to them. I don't like that, because I've noticed that when you do that, those are the people that come in and they aren't actually qualified to do the work. Like, they don't have the internal capacity because they came in from being hyped up versus coming in because they were dropped in and it was true.
Totally.
And so I personally don't use excitement or like revving up the energy and then hard selling or like hitting pain points. Like, I just drop people back into their body and let them feel the truth of whether it's
I love that. I personally love to shift their energy, but I'm noticing the people that are signing up to work with me, they're not just like, except for like, I think maybe one or two of my clients, but they've all have followed me for a while, or they've been connected with me for a while. So they're not just like getting on one call, getting excited and like, I want to do this. It's like they've listened to a podcast. They've watched my content. We saw some DMs. It's like so many touches, right? DMs, content, all this stuff.
Totally.
It prepares them. It readies them. So it's not just like this emotional decision.
Right.
It's I'm ready. Let's do this, Yeah.
And it sounds like there's two different types of excitement too, because there's the excitement where you're just like up in your head and in fantasy, and then the excitement that comes from when you're really open and ready for transformation. Like, that's the type of shift stating that happens when I naturally have a call with someone. Like, they can feel that opening, they can feel that possibility, and it does shift their state. But I'm not like jacking them up, in this false energy, and there's a lot of that in traditional sales circles, and I don't resonate with that. And I that's not the sense that I'm getting with you either. It's more of this authentic, like, opening, and people can see what's possible for them. Exactly.
I think a couple things me and you check off, because I'm seeing a lot of similarities with you and I. That's why we're obsessed with each other. Is I'm getting just a sense of obviously authenticity. We've already touched on that, but I also feel like we're safe. We're safe spaces. We know what we're doing. We provide safety. We're emotionally regulated. We know, like, I feel people feel safe with us. I know that's my experience. Is people feel safe working with me. And I get that sense with you because you're just so embodied in it, and it's you're very calm too, but like calm, confident. I don't see you losing your shit that much unless it's in Club Unhinged, which is now Club Hot as Fuck. Meme
Sometimes in my comment section, if someone comes in, I did this last week, and people come in and they bring like nasty energy, I will always reflect that back. So if someone new is like watching me in my comment section, they might be like, wow, this bitch is so unsafe, but they don't understand what I'm actually doing. They don't look at the entire interaction of like, if energy comes to me from a curious place, then I will always dialogue with people. But if someone comes in trying to dominate me in my own house, they are going to get fucking schooled. And I have no tolerance for it. And just a lot of men will come in thinking that they can dominate a woman in her own space. And I'm like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And so
I will for sure dominate you back and win for sure.
Same. Like, don't tempt me with a good time.
I will destroy you. There's a TikTok I made a week ago, and I was talking about gays, and I was like, gays, we get it. You love your body. You love being hot. What else? It's like, what else is going on?
Yeah.
What are we creating? Whatever. And people loved it, but some people are like, coming from someone like someone posted a picture of my forehead because I like a little injection.
Yeah.
Someone posted a picture of me in the gym. I said, listen, I didn't say
be a slob.
I didn't say I don't care about my body. I said, what beyond that?
Exactly.
And then I also said, I left a comment. I'm like, go look at 95% of my content. It is not body pictures. It's podcast thing. It's podcast. It's value that's getting 500 views. like it's go look at my shit. Anyways, I don't know where I went with that. I'm just saying, like, get out of my place.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they try and pick a fight.
They do. They're just trying to blow off energy. Ironically, they have all of this energy inside of them that they're not plugging into their own creative faculties. So they have to find places to burn it off.
Yeah.
And picking fights with people on the internet is a perfect way to dump your energy and, stay stuck. But if that's what someone wants to do and that's who they want to be, like, I'm going to let them have it, and I'm really going to let them have it.
When you're an abundant person and you're a winner, like me my girl here, my girl here, you don't do that shit.
No.
We hype each other up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trolling anyone's shit.
Never.
Ever. Like, it's not an abundant thing to do. So they're just trolls.
No. And I think that is the difference between someone who's a creator and who isn't. Like, the people who have been in the ring, they understand what it feels like to be in the ring. And so if I see someone trying, I'm always going to back them and be like,
Absolutely.
You know what? Good for you. Like, I know how much courage it takes to actually put yourself out there, put your art out there, put your business out there. I'm always going to be a hype girl. Yeah.
That's a great word for it. It does take a lot of courage. Well, Kelsey, I love you so much. Thank you for doing this with me. So for those listening, how can they find you if they want to work with you? Obviously, link in her bio, but tell us about where people can find you and reach you.
Radical Self-Love on Instagram or TikTok or Threads is where I'm active on social media. You can head to my website, kelseygrant.com or hotasfuck.com. And we also have Club Unhinged. I guess no, it's Club Hot as Fuck now. Still locking in. But you can find that on Instagram and TikTok as well. And I'm easily accessible on my Instagram page. Like, you can shoot me a DM. We'll chit chat and we'll go from there. Easy.
Well, girl, I love you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. We're in this together. You guys listen. If you're a creator, you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder, whoever you are listening to this, me and Kelsey, people like us support you. Keep locked in on the mission. We have each other. There's been times where I've struggled, Kelsey struggled, and we have a community within ourselves. So we got your back. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next show.